Hi there, guys. This is Vinney Chopra back again with Apartment Syndication Made Easy. Thank you, everybody who's giving us 5-star reviews, written reviews, 5-star, not 4-star, and also liking, sharing. I hope you're liking the 2 episodes I do live now. Abundance Mindset with Vinney Chopra, 9 a.m. on Thursday morning. And then I do 9:30 Vinney and Bo show every week live at 9 to 12 channels now. So I hope you're liking the content. And my team is putting out in YouTube and Instagram and TikTok so much content, and of course, my academy is doing really well. Anybody who wants to learn the business of syndication investing, just let my team know. And investors, if you are there, passive investors, accredited investors, we are going to be buying close to 100 million investment next year alone as the year is changing. 2023 is going to be buyer's market, more from a seller's market shift. So we got a great friend here, Sarry. Hi, Sarry. How are you?
Hi, Vinney. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast. It's a pleasure to be here and a pleasure to speak to you in the audience today.
Oh, thank you. Sarry Ibrahim is a financial specialist, guys. You're going to love him. He's a private money lender, real estate investor, and member of the Bank on Yourself. That great organization. And he helps business owners, real estate investors, full-time employees, W2 people. Remember, we are always trying to get the extra stream of income. So this is the show for you. I hope you really like it. How to build wealth. And he's got MBA. Congratulations. I've got MBA myself from Washington, D.C., George Washington University. And he worked for companies like Allstate, Blue Cross Blue Shield, Cigna Healthcare, Humana. All these great organizations. And we're going to talk about asset protection, tax-deferred growth, and the growth regardless of economic market conditions, which everybody knows we are going through some big shifts over here in USA. So welcome, Sarry. Tell me more, brother. How did you get into this business?
Yeah, Vinney, thank you so much. So I got into this business. I started in the insurance space when I was about halfway through my MBA. I started working at Allstate Insurance, and I was mostly like with standard insurance stuff, right? Like auto insurance, homeowners, commercial insurance. And I really liked it was not so much about the insurance part. It was about talking to people, right? Talking about people with money. I started to understand the psychology of money and how people relate to money and how they relate to the things they own and they care about, their assets and things like that. So I wanted to make that into a career. I wanted to go further into the elements of the psychology of money and dealing with people and how they feel about their money. And that led me into financial services. I couldn't think of anything else that would help with helping people manage their money than financial consulting, financial services. So I got into that space, and I've been in this business for about seven years now. I also have a background in Medicare, so I also work with a lot of clients in the healthcare space, in the healthcare insurance space. And then founded a company called Financial Asset Protection. We're a full service financial services firm in Chicago. We help clients in all 50 states. We even do some international things. Like if you wanted to get out of debt, if you wanted to save for your business, if you want to find a real estate syndication to invest in, you want kind of a second opinion from a financial budgeting perspective. That's kind of like what we do. We have a couple of different referral partners with asset protection attorneys, estate planning attorneys. My goal was to be like a full service financial services firm. And then that also led to the podcast, right? Thinking Like a Bank podcast to help spread the word. Since we are a virtual, 100% virtual agency, we needed some sort of method of telling people who we are and sharing the experience, right? That's who I am, Thinking Like a Bank podcast host, and happy to be here. One of the main topics we work on is we work with the Bank on Yourself concept, which a lot of people in the real estate community know it as the infinite banking concept.
Yeah, I was going to ask you that. It's the same. It's the whole life product. A lot of people have different concepts around it, and sometimes people say, I don't want insurance. I want term insurance, whole life. So we'll dig into that. The other part, let me ask you a question. What did you discover about psychology of money? How do the investors think? What were some revelations?
That's my first time I've ever been asked that question. So it's a lot, right? I think one thing that comes to mind is like if I said something is expensive, right, or something is not expensive, well, it's a comparative thing. Like if I told you that there was an investment property for $100,000, you might think it's a really good deal. If I say there's a car for $100,000, you might say that's too much money for a car. So really, compared to what? That's what I learned is that money is completely, it's subjective, it's relative. It depends on the context. It depends on the asset or the thing you're talking about. So that's one thing I learned. Another thing too I learned is that you'd be surprised that a lot of people who are very frugal with money are also they invest a lot of money. So the way they would look at it is like, instead of me buying a car for 50,000, I could buy a car for 20,000 and invest the other 30,000. I could put the other $30,000 in a real estate syndication and potentially double that money in 5 or 7 years, So that's another angle too, is that not just how much something is costing you today, but how much it could cost you in the future, right? Because if you look, let's just say you instead of investing that 30,000, you bought a car for 30,000. Not only do you miss the investment potential, but then you also miss the investment potential from that potential. So from the 60,000, you could potentially reinvest that in another 5 to 7 years and double that. So that's another big part of the psychology of money that I learned, is that there's a lot of different opinions about money, and not just about if I had product A or product B to show you right now, but also the long-term effect of it too.
I love it. I love it. What you just said is so right. Frugal people, they are good planners of money. I mean, they are able to save money, get good deals, and they're frugal. I mean, that's the best reason. I know. I remember reading that book, Millionaire Next Door. And I remember the concept there. They said most of the millionaires wear a watch which is $49.95. I still remember that, So they're frugal, but they are able to find ways to invest that money at opportunity cost so that they can grow that money into bigger and bigger. That's how they become richer and richer. Oh,
yeah, exactly. Because think about it this way: what if you're you work a W-2 employee, you make $1 million a year. Let's just say after taxes, you walk away with like $600,000, and then you live in a mansion, you have really nice cars, you spend a lot of money. The second you stop your job, you lose everything, all those things. So then you're almost like on a hamster wheel, right? Like you're almost forced to keep your job. And this is the reality for a lot of Americans, right? Like we live in big houses, nice cars, very expensive, flashy things. Is that they're almost like on a hamster wheel. They have to keep working their job. Whereas you have other people who don't need nice things. They don't have a lot of liabilities, and they're very concerned about their freedom. Right. The freedom, if they could just have the investment income they're receiving offset their expenses, they'll feel like the richest people on earth. You know what I mean? The fact that they could work whenever they want, wherever they want. And even in my opinion, too, like if you ask me, like, what does financial freedom mean, or what does it mean to be wealthy? It's the ability to literally wake up whenever you want, go to sleep whenever you want, live in any city in the world, anywhere you want to live.
Hi. You are listening to Syndication Made Easy podcast. We will be right back after this short break.
Hi, thank you so much. This is Vinney Chopra, and thank you for subscribing to my podcast and YouTube channel and Facebook pages and all the great things, and LinkedIn. Connect with me. I come live to you every Friday at 9 Pacific with Vinney and Bo Show. Please also look at that. And also the podcast, which is my Apartment Syndication Made Easy. The book I wrote a couple of years back became international top seller on Amazon International now. And then we like to bring great guests for you every week or twice a week sometime to give you a lot of great knowledge. So please subscribe. You give us 5-star reviews on the iTunes. The better the guests we can bring, and our ranking will go higher also. Thanks again for following us and really getting the most out of it. Please comment, like, share, because we would love to bring better and better material for you.
That to me is real financial freedom and real wealth.
I love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. And, with the generation XYZ and also now millennials are turning 65, seniors, right? So they're kind of winding down. But the new era, I mean, everybody wants to be able to, work remotely, like you said,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Quite a bit. And then anywhere in the world and do what they want to do. So financial freedom, financial independence is not just paying the bills, but
Yes.
it's having freedom of time, freedom of money, freedom of really spending time with, with the right people and relationships. No, I agree. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's so important, so important. So let me ask you a question. In your whole quest of where you are, and you're just starting 7 years now, you said, so what kind of hardships have you gone through? I think people many times feel that when they get the hardship, it's them only in that game. No, everybody
Yeah.
has hardships.
Yeah, that's a good, a lot of hardships are a good question. A lot of hardships, I'm an entrepreneur, still am, it's a very difficult place to be in because there's going to be there's going to be a time period of not earning any money. It depends on some businesses. It depends on what kind of business you're in, but there's usually a downtime, right? Like if you were making, 100, let's just use even numbers. If you were making $100,000 a year at a company and then you started your own business, almost, I think the vast majority of times you're not going to be making $100,000 a year in the business, right? There's going to be a dip. Like you're gonna lose money sometimes. Sometimes you have to borrow money. You have to raise money from investors. You have to use savings for the first, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Sometimes it depends on the business, depends on who the person is. But that's kind of the hardest thing to grasp. And then I think that when you compare yourself to others, it becomes problematic, right? Like you shouldn't compare yourself to others. You never know what's really out there. So when you compare yourself to others, like you're working in your business, you're working 60 hours a week in your business, and then you hear about your friend who's a W-2 executive who it makes $300,000 a year, and you go, oh, that actually looks like a good idea. Maybe I should just quit my business and then just go get a high-paying job. But you have to stay focused, right? You have to have priorities. You have to know your why, and you have to look at maybe the reality, again, back to the psychology of money, right? Maybe $300,000 seems like a lot of money right now a year. And then you, Vinney, might be listening to me right now is saying $300,000 a year is not a lot of money. You know what I mean? Especially living in the Bay Area. That's not a lot.
I know. I think I spent 300 on the house and all the stuff and all that. You're right. No, it's all, it's all comparable, right?
Yeah, exactly. So really, really that was a hardship I learned, is really staying focused, don't compare yourself to others, think, be present in the moment, right? But also think very long term. And I love, I love reading books. And one of my favorite books I read was The 10X Rule by Grant Cardone. And that book is just amazing because I love how Grant constantly reinforces the idea of 10xing your goals, like thinking bigger, because it's not just so much of, from a greed perspective, like having more money, but more so from an emotional and intellectual strength, like strengthening yourself. Like the bigger your goals are, the stronger you become in life, right? So that was something like, that's helped me stay in business, is just constantly reinforcing that. Like maybe your problem isn't that you're aiming too big. Maybe your problem is you're aiming too small and you're reaching those small goals. Maybe that is a big problem you're having.
So true. So true. It's so very true what you're saying, brother. Actually, this morning, my show, which I do, I was just talking about, abundance mindset. Today, we were talking about setting. Can you believe it? And hyper focus. Those were the two things we talked about, because hardships come in life, right?
Yeah.
But if we are able to be in the moment and make sure that we are able to, overcome whatever hardship comes, and also getting focused on to the right activities, that's what it's all about. And we are able to move forward in our business, in our growth and everything. So let me ask you a question. What's your superpower?
Yeah, my I've never been asked that question before. Let's see. Superpower. I like to really, I like to listen a lot, right? So like especially when I'm talking to clients, I listen a lot more than I speak. Yeah. There are times where I talk to people, even like my friends or even like my wife on the phone, and I'll put the phone sometimes on mute because I'm not talking, right? I don't need to talk, so I listen a lot. That's, I guess, my superpower. And I think I'm thankful. I think a lot of clients have noticed that I listen a lot more. And that's resulted in, and I'm thankful, that's resulted in a lot of good client success meetings. And I think that's a really big part, right, of the professional world and working with the professionals, having somebody who listens, who understands. And I think that the idea of listening really is interesting. It's something that's really overlooked. And I think the word itself, like if I said, like, are you listening to me, or listen to this? It's a very overlooked word. It might appear to be as hearing what's going on, but listening is also following the direction of where the person is going, right? So like if I said, my goals are to invest in multifamily syndication over the next 5 years, you might have heard those, but then listening would be, all right, how do we make that happen? Like, what is it about that that's important to you? What are some obstacles you see getting in the way? So that's really, like, I think my superpower is the ability to listen and keep listening, right?
I love that. I love that, really, Abraham, what you're talking, brother. I mean, it's interesting, Sarry, because I think Jim Rohn or Tom Hopkins or all these people, they say, you listen. God gave us like 2 eyes, 2 ears, and 1 mouth, right? Because we watch and we see and then we hear. So if we can do 20% of the talking and 80% of just listening, we'll be in a better place. And, I remember somewhere I read in many, or we listened to, they say, once you communicate your idea, you shut up.
Yes.
So no, that's so great what you said. It's your superpower. That's something I am trying to even get better at it. A lot of time people who are more talkative, like Vinney Chopra, we talk a lot. So we want to be really, in 2023, hopefully anybody listening to us, please watch yourself and see, are you talking too much every day? Are you getting tired at the end of the day? Or are you listening? Because listening gives you so many solutions. And a lot of people, clients, they actually, by you listening, us listening, will solve their many, many questions they might have, by them talking. Huh?
Exactly. I took an improv class in Chicago, at Second City in Chicago. And one thing I learned, like, it's only certain things really resonate with us, right? And one of the things I learned is imagine like somebody starts talking, right? And I don't know if the camera could see my whole arm right here, but you're starting off the top of your shoulder. And then by the time they finish their sentence, it's at the last of your fingertips, right? So it's like, imagine a parent was telling their child, like, clean your room, and then you stop by the elbow. And then the kid interrupts and says, I don't want to clean my room. And then if the kid let the parents keep talking, like, clean your room so that we can get ice cream afterwards. Yeah. And then you never know. A lot of people, I think, cut off by the elbow, right? They're cutting like halfway, like not fully listening to the end, because again, it's incredible. Like the end of that, when you get to the end of that sentence, I mean, it's life changing, right? Especially in the world of negotiation and business. Yes. You never know that usually the last seconds of what somebody says really could be the biggest game changer.
Excellent. I hope this has been really great nuggets to everybody as we start the new year. And we always need to reinvent ourselves. I always say that, you got to grow in some great habits. As a matter of fact, my team and I have put together 5-page goal setting form, fillable form. If anybody who's listening to us later on, if you'd like to just go to info@vinneychopra.com, and we'll send it to you, and it's just a little thank you from our side. It's a goal setting form which takes you back this year and next year and into all your facets of life, everything. And just, great way to spend time in getting the new year set up and then look at those goals. I'm going to get you back into your business. And, can you describe how a bank on yourself type whole life policy is it? What's the best structure? A lot of people have told me, hey, Vinney, be the bank. You could take the money out and things like that. And, on loan, it saves you in taxes, all that. So maybe can you demystify all these things?
Yeah, I would say the first approach you want to take to this, right? It's not so much of just buying a product and then you wanted to know what the product is called. It's more of a concept, right? It's a way of living. And you want to first take that approach, understand that it's a way of living, understand it's a concept, and look for kind of not just the features of it, what it could do, but also how you want to use it for your life, right? Like what do you want to accomplish? And I would look ultimately, not just what are your goals with Bank on Yourself or what are your goals with infinite banking, but what are your ultimate goals? Take away the product, take away the tool out of there. Again, it's like saying if I wanted to earn $100,000 a year using multifamily, let's take away multifamily investing for now. Let's just say, all right, my goal is to earn $100,000 a year in passive income. And one of those tools may be multifamily investing or self-storage or other types of real estate strategies. So that's kind of the approach I would take. Look at it more from your goals, what you want, minus the tools, minus the products, and then we can add those in based off of your goals. Not the other way around. I think a lot of people take the opposite approach, right? They hear about somebody who invested in something and then they want to go directly to that. And then when you ask them, like, what are your goals? My goal is to use this product. No, what are my goals to use this tool? No, those are just kind of the features and looking at the product. Look more so at what you want to accomplish. So that's the approach we would take. Like, look at it. What do you want to accomplish overall? Take away Bank on Yourself or whole life insurance out of the equation. What do you want to accomplish? And with that, a lot of times it ends up being, using some sort of whole life policy in some way or shape or form because of the tax benefits behind it, because of the liquidity, right? I could, today, Vinney, I could put money into a life policy and then, 3 to 5 business days later, borrow against that money and invest in a real estate deal or invest in, if I wanted to invest in the stock market, I'm not really too big on investing in the stock market, but if I wanted to invest in the stock market, I could use the whole life policy for that. So we're really talking about risk mitigation, tax mitigation, and improving your liquidity situation.
Got it. Wonderful. No, I know, a lot of people who were not believing in the concept, more and more people are believing in this, concept now, which is, again, I can't say in my podcast to promote anybody, but the thing is, you got to look into it, what's out there, right? Yeah.
100%, Vinney. I recommend, look into it. Don't just, it's not so much of a product. You just go online and click and buy, online. It takes research. It takes people sometimes years to actually implement it. So I would suggest at least learn about it, right? Learn about this. You could reach out to me. You could, there are a bunch of books out there that, I would say the foundation of this concept is written in the book, Becoming Your Own Banker by Nelson Nash. That's usually where people start.
That was the first one. I remember Nelson Nash's name, right?
Yeah.
Actually, the guy was in this town, in Blackhawk. He lived where I live. As a matter of fact, he was my neighbor. Yeah. Oh, wow. Nelson Nash. Yeah, it's interesting.
Wow, crazy.
It's crazy, man.
That I recommend that book, Becoming Your Own Banker. It's I could send it. If you reach out to me, I can send you the book for free.
Please.
It's the foundation of the concept and really kind of describes more about how to, what it is, why it even exists, why Nelson Nash even thought about it and why he needed to really do it because of kind of his financial situation at that time.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you for that.
How can people reach you, brother? Yeah.
So you can go to thinkinglikeabank.com. And then from the website, thinkinglikeabank.com, you could download our ebook for free. You can email me. You can schedule a time with me. You could connect on LinkedIn, YouTube. All of that is from thinkinglikeabank.com.
Love that. Thank you so much for spending time with me. Sarry, it's been such a pleasure. And, again, guys, Happy New Year. I don't know when this podcast will come out, but again, Happy New Year to everybody. 2023, we'll see you and have lots and lots of fun and make memories and be well, be positive.
Thanks, Vinney.
Thank you again, for joining Vinney Chopra this week on this podcast. And please subscribe, share, give comments, and give 5-star rating if you can on iTunes, because that really helps a lot for us to bring great guests. And also iTunes raises our rankings up. And I hope you have been very happy with Vinney Chopra and team who are able to bring great information. If you'd like to invest with us, please go ahead and go to vinneychopra.com/invest. Thanks again. God bless you.